Hey, what's up, guys? So today is going to be the weekly recap. The first stock I'm going to be going over is ADN. If you look at ADN, it's got uh, red flag for me. It's under 5 million float. Everybody's got their own preference. You know, I see people that are trading under 1 million share float. For me, that's absolutely idiotic, but to each their own. Short float. Under 2%, low institution, low insider, no SSR. It's got 5 gap stats, but only 3 closed red. So it's kind of like it's not an ideal candidate for a short. But I mean, if the play's there, the play's there. So for me, I personally did not take this trade. I wouldn't have taken this trade. The reason for that is I would have been looking for like closer to the top. Like I'm not trying to short down here. For me, this is how I personally look at things. It's got a floor forming right here, and it's found its topping right here. Can't remember what these green lines are. I'm sure that if I went to the daily, it would be like a daily level or something. It looks like daily levels. So, but if we go back to the actual day, zoom in. All right, well, that kind of works out, I guess. Kind of. But how I look at it is there's a ceiling, there's a floor. I want to be as close as possible to the ceiling because that's what I'm risking off of. And so for me, shorting anything in here, really, if you look at this, it's literally no man's land for me. This is just my own personal preference. There's a million different ways you guys can trade. For me, not ideal. On top of that, it's got 2 million share float. It's almost float rotated on the first minute. I'm sure if you do like a deep dive, I'm sure this thing's got some delusion on it. But that's the only way to make these small caps safer, in my personal opinion. So for me, this was brought to my attention, or I saw people talking about that. This is why I would not have traded ADN. The next one is CGC. So you go over here, edge trade. This is the first thing that I do on every single stock that I look on. If you guys have not looked into edge trade, I highly recommend you guys look into it. It really makes my life a lot easier. I got a gap and crap setting over here. I have all the gappers here, and then I can literally start going through all this stuff and like, oh, I look at this, say I don't like that for whatever reason, I exclude it, and then I don't have to worry about seeing anything. And so for me, it makes it a hell of a lot easier. It's got all the stuff I need, filings, everything. If you guys want to look into that, I do have a discount code. It's Adam Edge at checkout. I believe it gets you like 15 or 20% off. But this thing is, I love Edge Trade. It's got everything you need, all the stats, even shows you what it's done in the past. So on CGC, you go over here, it's got 84 million float, 10% short float, 13% institutional ownership, no insiders. I don't know if there was SSR on this day or not. It does have some capital though. Got 10 gap stats, 6 closed red. So for me, it's worth a trade. If we look down here, it looks like a gap and crap, a little gap and extension, a big ass gap and extension. This day was crazy. 9/11, 23. Another little gap and extension, gap and crap, gap and crap, gap and extension. Okay, so it does gap and extension. So like that would be a possible thing that I'd be looking for on this. Okay, so for me, the reason I don't like this is because I don't like all this shit. This for me is not a gap and extension at all. So for me, at the very open, I'm already not that thrilled with it. So what I would need is I would need this thing to do an intraday gap. This thing goes up 13%. Is that worth your time? I mean, maybe. What's the daily look like? Is there any levels? I believe that was trading down at $5. So if you look at the levels, there's a level right here, level right there, another level right there. I don't know if this is the day that it was trading on. I'm pretty sure this is the day. So we'll go back over to the daily chart. Okay, so it did have it did have a daily level. It blew straight through the damn thing. I'm pretty sure the topping was right here, but how I would have traded it, yeah, it's 5 minutes in, so I'll give a little gold nugget. That is the only freaking place I would have traded this damn thing. Right there. I would have traded it right there, looked for a fade, and it would have worked out. That's how I traded it. And actually, I did trade this one when it went up. I can't remember exactly where my chart was. CGC. Yeah. Right where I said I'll be trading it, and I did. So, nice simple trade. Obviously not super ideal, but there there wasn't anything super ideal in my personal opinion this week. The other stock was SPPL. This thing, like, that's a common theme that I've been noticing this week is there's been a lot of stocks have been ripping up from like 15, like there was one that was like 10 cents, 15, 20 cents, 30 cents, and they're starting to like rip over $1. But I'm really sorry, guys. I'm super tired. But SPPL, let's see, 10 million float, low short, low institution, low insider. It only has one gap stat, and it closed green. So that's not super good. It looks like it's got the one gap that it had. It was a gap and crap. So, but clearly this is not either a gap and crap because it didn't have a gap. It just started ripping. And so for me, it pops up here, fake breakout, right there. Over $1. The only other place I would have been really looking for this thing is around $1. But for me, it just kind of ripped straight through $1. It started playing games. Over here, yeah, it failed, but then ripped back up. One thing I could see me possibly doing would be right here. I could take a trade right there. It would have worked. I would have covered the rest break even. It looks like it goes into a halt. Okay, this thing goes freaking nuts. It finds a topping up here. The volume is way lower. But then I see this right there. This freaking little doji barely touches the first target. Goes up. Hell yeah, right there. But the only problem is, like, I'm not really a huge fan of this end of day thing. The whole reason I got into trading stocks is because I want, freedom. I don't want to be at the screens all freaking day long. And so for me, like, honestly, I wouldn't even look at this stock, really. And then BNOX. Hell yeah, right there. So this thing's up from like 20 cents, 60 cents. BNOX. Let's see what the stats say. BNOX. 17 million float. No short float. 20% institutional ownership. That's, it's not over the thing. It's still, for me, I'm like, okay, like, it's still a decent chunk, but as long as it's not over 30%, it's in play. 9 gap stats, 6 closed red, no insiders. It does have some cash, but this thing starts going up. How I play it is exactly like that. I would do the pop and fill. Is there a daily level there? No, but I mean, it's been up here. Has overhead resistance. The only problem is these don't really have huge volume days compared to where it was at. So how much of that float is actually even like really tied up? Who knows? But how I played it is right there. I would have played it right here. Oh, we got stopped out, break even, instantly short again, cover, 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 call it a day. Depending on where I got filled, I might have got stopped out right here. Maybe, I don't know, but that's how I would have traded it. Then ZVSA. Yeah, so this is one of those stupid stocks. Like, for me, like, I really don't understand. You got people that are shorting stocks with 1 million float. That, to me, that's insane. Yeah, it's got 5 gap stats. It closed red 5 times, but for me, it doesn't take a lot to rip your face off. If you are going to trade this, you got to be super calculated on where you're going to trade. It worked. Pretty sure when I did the deep dive with one of my students that this thing does have delusion on it. I'm pretty sure. I'm not going to go back and do that. I want to make this a shorter video. But this thing has the high up here. I probably want to short it on the first candle, because for me, I'd be looking for this thing to pop through and risking the next $0.50 number. It didn't work. It failed. It came back up. It's got a lower volume, even though this thing, like I said, it's literally float rotating twice on a 1 minute candle. Like, it's crazy to me, and I'm not a huge fan of this shit. But if you did trade this, that would be the place to trade. And it's got a lower volume than here. It starts filling down. I'd probably take it like right when it filled this candle right here. Cover. I'm pretty sure it hit the final target too. It did not hit the final target. So, but you would have had a decent trade. But for me, it just, I don't know. Yeah, at the very beginning of my career, where I've been trading that, yeah, probably. But then this one, it's up from 620. It opens at 690. That's not a huge gap. What is that? 12% gap, like where you take it at the pre-market high. It's 18% gap. Still, it's higher price stock, so I can see how people are talking about this. But this is the only place I would have been trading it, is up in here, and I would have taken it as a scalp. Take a trade right there. Cover. Risk break even. Wolf. Let's see what the stats are on this thing. Yeah, he's super high float. 50% institution, or 15% short, 22 institution, and 17%. So I mean, if you add all that shit up, that's like over 50% of the float is locked up with either short float, institution, which can go hand in hand, and insiders. It's got plenty of cash. Yeah, it's got 14 gaps, 10 closed red, but like really, this is not ideal. Like this for me is like, you're just looking to make money. when you're trading off the P&L, not doing things like correctly, following the rules, my rules, I guess, then you just lose money. And so for me, that's a hard pass. The next one was FOXO. I can't remember if it was this day. I traded on this day. So this thing was up from 14 cents. I did not trade it until the very freaking end of the day. Let's see if I can pull up the stock. I want to prove to you guys that I'm not just, talking out my ass. So, see if I can find this. So, XO. Yeah. So, like I said, I like to wait and be patient and look for the very, very tippy tops. And then, yeah, I covered. Yeah, did I miss some of this? Yeah, but the other reason why. So this thing breaks over $1, right? It did not react the right way for, at the dollar. But, man, I'm sorry. I haven't had my coffee yet. But this thing starts to trade a little bit lower volume. I believe I got in like right in here, and I added to the size like right here, and then I covered everything here. Why? Because it's going into after hours. I'm not trading freaking a stock that's pumping out millions and millions of shares in after hours. I mean, these guys could go into a day two, no problem. And then I really missed this. This really sucked. I missed this. Just made me sad. But anyways, Arab was another one. This is getting really long. I'm gonna have to only do the stocks I trade. Arab pops up. I did not get this. I did. I think I took a loss on this. I took a short right here. I got stopped out. And then it didn't give me the right entry. It did have some daily levels. I should have got in realistically right here, but I didn't want to have a 40 cent stop. So in hindsight, yeah, it would have been a great trade, but I didn't take it. So the next one is Frey. Honestly, I'm not even going to go over Frey because this is just a shit stock. CYN. Okay, so this one pops up. Let's look at CYN really fast. CYN. 2 million float, 5% short float, 10% institution. Yeah, it's low on cash, 10 gap stats, 6 closed red. That's literally how quick it takes me to go through a stock. I can look and be like, okay, is this worth it? Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. What's it normally do? Gap and crap, little gap and extension, gap and crap, gap and crap, gap and extension, gap and crap, gap and extension. Okay, so it's about a 50-50. All right. Well, what's this thing gonna do? For me, this is literally the only spot to trade this thing. It was a gap and crap this time. I don't believe I traded this stock, but it was a good play. Worked out. ENSC. So this thing comes up. It's another one of those low price stocks, man. It's up from 50 cents up to near $1. I did get shook out on this one. I did trade this one. I took a trade right here. I stopped out. I was looking for this thing to pop up for $1. It didn't happen. What are you gonna do? The other thing was I did not want to take a trade on a lower price stock, even though it did set up. I did not set up, so it's just shy of my entry. But what are you gonna do? You can't trade every single one of them. And then I got my absolute face ripped off on this stock. So I never should have been in this damn thing. I broke pretty much every one of my freaking rules. This thing it didn't even gap up. It's not even worth your freaking time. The only place that this would be worth your time, I was trading back in here because I sized up, I started thinking about the money, and it was being stupid. The only place I should have been trading this thing is literally right there. That's it. Like that's it, and then you would have just killed it on the stock. I've traded CU, LU a few times in the past, but 10 million float, low short float, low institutional ownership, big insider ownership. That's another big red flag. They're down on cash, so I got one gap. I guess I only traded one time in the past, but I have traded this in the past. Pretty sure this is a stock that Tony Robbins was talking about back in the day, and but anyways, got my ass kicked on this one. Should never even been on my radar at all. And then this, I killed this one. Came up, pop and fell. Take an entry, risk over the high. And it just tanked. And so, really, at the end of the day, it was kind of a hit or miss week. A lot of my students had better discipline than I did, and which is, I don't know. I'm human, and so that is one of the things. But I want to start doing these weekly recaps. I do a daily recap with them every day where I go over different things. So if that is something that you're interested in, wherever you guys are watching this, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, shoot me a message or look in my bio or in the description or whatever, and you'll find a link to my free trading community. I'm not charging any money. I do have a subscription service that I do have, but the classrooms and all that stuff is absolutely free. I really believe that you should be able to learn trading stocks for free because it might not be for you. And so why would you pay me money for something that might not fit your personality in the first place? And it's going to take you a long time to even get to where I believe you guys should be trading with real money. So I might as well give you the knowledge for free. And to be completely honest, like me making the classrooms actually made me even better trader. So it's kind of like a win-win. So I hope you guys had a good week. I hope you guys followed your rules better than I did. And I'll see you guys back here next week.